Hello, and welcome to my channel. Relax, and get ready to listen to today's story. The bustling streets of Victorian London were alive with the sound of horse-drawn carriages and the clip-clop of hooves on cobblestone roads. Amelia Thompson's cozy, two-story house nestled in a charming neighborhood, where colorful flower boxes adorned the windowsills and the scent of freshly baked bread wafted from nearby bakeries. Amelia, a woman in her early 50s with silver curls cascading down her shoulders, had lived in this neighborhood for over 2 decades. She was known for her warm and welcoming nature, always tending to her beautiful garden with love and care. As she donned her straw hat and stepped outside, she waved to passers-by, exchanging friendly greetings with familiar faces. Her garden was a sight to behold, bursting with vibrant roses, delicate tulips, and fragrant lavender. Amelia's green thumb was renowned in the neighborhood, and her neighbors often sought her advice on their own gardening endeavors. One such neighbor was Mrs. Jenkins, a sprightly woman with a penchant for dahlias. On this particular morning, Amelia could be seen gently pruning her rose bushes, her gloved hands expertly maneuvering the shears. Mrs. Jenkins strolled over, a basket of freshly picked dahlias in hand. "Good morning, Amelia," Mrs. Jenkins called out cheerfully. Amelia looked up from her task and smiled warmly. "Ah, good morning, Mrs. Jenkins. What a lovely bouquet you have there." Mrs. Jenkins beamed, her eyes twinkling. "Thank you, my dear. I thought you might like a few for your dining room table." Amelia graciously accepted the flowers and placed them in a vase nearby. "How kind of you. Please do come in for some tea later. We can discuss our latest gardening triumphs." Mrs. Jenkins nodded eagerly. "I'd be delighted, Amelia. Your tea parties are always a highlight of my week." Amelia's days were filled with simple pleasures and routines that brought her immense joy. After tending to her garden in the morning, she would retire to her cozy study, lined with bookshelves filled to the brim with literary treasures. With a cup of steaming tea in hand, she would lose herself in the pages of classic novels or delve into the world of poetry. As the afternoon sun cast a warm glow through the lace curtains, Amelia would often find herself dozing off in her favorite armchair, lulled by the crackling fire in the fireplace. It was during these moments of tranquility that she felt truly content, surrounded by the familiar scents of old books and the soft embrace of her beloved home. One day, as Amelia was engrossed in a particularly captivating novel, she heard a gentle knock on her front door. She set her book aside and made her way to answer it, curious as to who might be calling at this hour. To her delight, it was Mrs. Jenkins, her rosy cheeks flushed with excitement. Amelia, my dear, I've just discovered a new gardening technique. I simply had to share it with you. Amelia welcomed Mrs. Jenkins inside, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Do tell, Mrs. Jenkins. I'm always eager to learn something new. And so, the two women spent the afternoon discussing soil composition, pruning techniques, and the art of coaxing stubborn plants to bloom. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and animated gestures. Amelia's tea parties were legendary in the neighborhood. Every few weeks, she would invite friends and neighbors to her home for an afternoon of lively conversation, delicate pastries, and steaming cups of tea. The scent of freshly baked scones and cucumber sandwiches wafted through the air, enticing guests as they arrived at Amelia's doorstep. The cozy parlor was transformed into a haven of laughter and camaraderie as guests settled into plush armchairs, their fingers delicately holding porcelain teacups. Conversations ranged from literature to current events, and Amelia reveled in the exchange of ideas and opinions. On one such occasion, as Amelia poured tea for her guests, the topic turned to the joys of living in Victorian London. Mr. Thompson, a retired professor with a twinkle in his eye, spoke passionately about the city's rich history and cultural heritage. I must say, Amelia, he remarked, there is something truly magical about this city. The grandeur of its architecture, the bustling markets, and the vibrant theater scene. It's a place where dreams are born. Amelia nodded, her eyes sparkling with agreement. Indeed, Mr. Thompson. Victorian London holds an allure that is hard to resist. Its streets may be filled with noise and chaos, but it is also a place where human connections are forged and cherished. The room fell into a comfortable silence as guests sipped their tea, their thoughts drifting to the sense of community fostered within these walls. It was in moments like these that Amelia felt her home truly came alive, brimming with love and laughter. As Amelia tended to her garden one sunny afternoon, memories from her past began to resurface. She recalled her late husband, Samuel, a successful businessman with a heart full of dreams and ambition. Together, they had envisioned a life filled with love and adventure. Flashbacks transported Amelia to their early years of marriage when they would stroll hand in hand through the bustling streets of London. Samuel's warm laughter echoed in her ears as they explored hidden bookshops and attended grand soirees. Their dreams intertwined, and they believed that nothing could shatter their happiness. But fate had a different plan in store for them. Samuel's sudden passing left Amelia devastated, her world crumbling around her. Grief consumed her, and she sought solace within the walls of her cozy haven, finding comfort in the familiar creaks of the floorboards and the warmth of the fireplace. It was during this time of immense loss that Amelia discovered the healing power of her garden. She poured her heart and soul into nurturing the plants, finding solace in the beauty that bloomed from her fingertips. In the soil, she found renewal, and in the delicate petals of a rose, she found hope. One stormy night, as rain lashed against Amelia's windows and thunder rumbled in the distance, a sense of unease settled over her cozy haven. The wind howled through the cracks in the walls, rattling the shutters and threatening to extinguish the fire in the fireplace. Amelia peered out into her beloved garden, her heart sinking at the sight of her once vibrant flowers bent under the weight of raindrops. The storm had wreaked havoc on her sanctuary, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Tears welled in Amelia's eyes as she surveyed the damage. Broken branches lay scattered across the lawn, and delicate petals clung to the wet ground. But despite her despair, a flicker of determination ignited within her. She would restore her garden to its former glory. With a steely resolve, Amelia donned her raincoat and ventured into the stormy night, seeking help from her neighbors. Mrs. Jenkins opened her door with a gasp when she saw Amelia standing there, drenched but determined. "Amelia, what on earth are you doing out in this weather?" Mrs. Jenkins exclaimed, concern etched on her face. Amelia smiled through rain-soaked hair. "I need your help, Mrs. Jenkins. Our gardens have suffered greatly, and I believe we can bring them back to life if we work together." Days turned into weeks, and Amelia's garden slowly began to recover from the storm's wrath. The once broken branches were pruned, and new flowers started to bloom, adding splashes of color to the landscape. But amidst the healing process, a sense of curiosity gnawed at Amelia's heart. One evening, as Amelia sat by the fireplace, engrossed in a book, a soft knock on the door interrupted her solitude. She set her book aside and made her way to answer it, her heart pounding with anticipation. To her surprise, a figure stood on her doorstep, shrouded in darkness. The stranger's eyes gleamed with an enigmatic light, their face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. "May I help you?" Amelia asked, her voice steady but tinged with curiosity. The visitor's voice was low and mysterious. "Amelia Thompson, I have come seeking answers." Amelia's brow furrowed, her mind racing to make sense of the situation. "Who are you? And what answers do you seek?" The visitor remained silent for a moment before finally speaking. "I knew your late husband, Samuel Thompson. There are secrets that need to be unraveled." Amelia's curiosity piqued, and she invited the mysterious visitor inside, eager to uncover the truth about her late husband and the secrets that lay hidden in the shadows of her past. As days turned into weeks, Amelia embarked on an investigation into Samuel's life, poring over old letters and documents that had been tucked away in the attic. She sought the help of her neighbors, sharing snippets of information with them in the hopes of piecing together the puzzle. Mrs. Jenkins, always eager to assist, joined Amelia on her quest for answers. Together, they visited local authorities and libraries, unearthing fragments of Samuel's past. Each revelation brought them closer to the truth, but it also raised more questions. Amelia's heart raced as she uncovered a web of deceit and intrigue surrounding Samuel's business dealings. The man she had loved and trusted had led a double life, entangled in a world far removed from their idyllic existence. The day of reckoning arrived as Amelia confronted the mysterious visitor, armed with the knowledge she had painstakingly gathered. The room crackled with tension as they locked eyes, secrets hanging heavy in the air. "You knew my husband's secrets," Amelia stated, her voice steady but tinged with sadness. "Tell me everything." The visitor sighed, their shoulders slumping under the weight of guilt. Samuel Thompson was not who he appeared to be. He was involved in illegal activities, driven by ambition and greed. Amelia's heart sank, but she refused to let despair consume her. "I loved him despite his flaws. Tell me, why have you come to me now?" The visitor's voice softened. "I have come to seek forgiveness, Amelia. I was once Samuel's partner in crime, but I have since turned my life around. I wanted to make amends for the pain we caused." Amelia's eyes filled with tears as she absorbed the visitor's words. Forgiveness was a difficult path to tread, but she knew that holding on to anger would only weigh her down. With a deep breath, Amelia extended a hand towards the visitor. "I forgive you," she whispered. "May we find peace and closure in this moment." With the truth laid bare and forgiveness granted, Amelia's focus shifted back to her beloved garden. The storm's damage had been a setback, but with the help of her neighbors, she was determined to restore it to its former glory. One sunny morning, Mrs. Jenkins arrived with a wagon full of fresh soil and saplings, ready to breathe new life into the damaged earth. Together, they toiled under the warm sun, their hands covered in dirt as they planted seeds and nurtured fragile shoots. As the days turned into weeks, Amelia's garden began to flourish once again. The roses bloomed with renewed vigor, their petals unfurling like delicate promises of resilience. Bees buzzed lazily among the flowers, and butterflies danced on the gentle breeze. Amelia watched with pride as her garden transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, a testament to her resilience and ability to overcome challenges. It was a reflection of her own journey, of finding beauty in the face of adversity. Amelia's cozy haven had become more than just a physical space. It was a sanctuary that held her memories, her dreams, and her newfound sense of purpose. With each passing day, she felt a renewed sense of contentment and joy. Her interactions with her neighbors grew stronger as they marveled at the transformation of her garden. They would gather in her parlor for tea, their laughter filling the air as they shared stories and exchanged gardening tips. One afternoon, as Amelia poured tea for her guests, Mr. Thompson raised his cup in a toast. To Amelia Thompson, whose cozy haven brings us all together. May we find solace and happiness within these walls. The room erupted in applause, and Amelia's heart swelled with gratitude. She had created not only a physical haven but also a haven for the soul, a place where laughter and love flourished. Amelia's tea parties became even more joyous and lively as her garden bloomed with abundance. The conversations that filled her parlor revolved around gratitude, hope, and the simple joys of living in Victorian London. Mrs. Jenkins, her face glowing with delight, remarked, "Amelia, your garden has become a symbol of resilience and the triumph of nature. It reminds us that even in the face of storms, beauty can flourish." Amelia nodded, her eyes sparkling with agreement. "Indeed, Mrs. Jenkins. Life is filled with storms, both literal and metaphorical. But it is within our cozy havens, surrounded by loved ones, that we find the strength to weather them." The room fell into a comfortable silence as guests sipped their tea, their hearts filled with gratitude for the connections they had forged within these walls. It was a celebration of life's joys, a reminder to cherish the moments of laughter and love that made life worth living. As years passed, Amelia's cozy haven remained a sanctuary of warmth and love. Her garden continued to flourish, its beauty a testament to her resilience and the bonds she had forged with her neighbors. Amelia found solace and fulfillment within the walls of her home, surrounded by the memories of her past and the love she had cultivated in the present. It was a place where she could be herself, where she could find peace amidst the chaos of the world outside. Her tea parties became a tradition cherished by all who attended, a reminder of the power of human connection and the importance of finding comfort in the company of loved ones. And so, Amelia's cozy haven prevailed, its walls echoing with laughter and love. It stood as a beacon of hope in Victorian London, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of a warm and welcoming home.